Hello, hello. Happy Talk About It Tuesday, folks. This is Carmelita Turner, the realest realtor you know. So glad that you are here with us for another fire segment. Let me tell you, today is going to be awesome. As you all know, I am the realest realtor for a reason. I believe in educating all of my followers on things that pertain not only to how to build your wealth through real estate, but also the importance of having balance in our lives and making sure that we're paying attention to what is truly going to give us longevity. So, with that being said, my guest today is the phenomenal founder of Afro.Strength, Mr. Michael Parker Jr. of California. And he is going to be talking with us today about the benefits not only of healthy living, but how we can not only transition our mindset, but our behaviors, even if it's just a little bit at a time, to make sure that our health is enabling us to build our wealth. How does that sound, Michael? Is that did I say that correctly?
Hit it right on the head, sister. And phenomenal. Hey, I appreciate it. I wasn't expecting that big of an intro, but hey, brother, we'll take. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I give credit where credit is due, Michael. I truly, truly do. So, for those of you watching, you may not know Michael is a celebrity in his own right. So, for those of you that may have seen him earlier this week on these YouTube streets, actually last week, he was on a YouTube show called Life is a Pitch that is hosted by the Black Business School and Dr. Boyce Watkins and Lene Javette. And Michael, you won that particular night. Yes, yay. And the crowd goes wild. So you had submitted a pitch about not only your brand Afro.Strength, but about your movement that I thought was so intriguing. And your story I found very intriguing as far as how you have come to this point in your life. Let me tell you, you are definitely a young man who is wise beyond his years because you are one of our beloved millennials. But at the age of 25, you have so much wisdom around health practices when it comes to eating, what we put into our bodies, and how we move our bodies, and how all of those things impact so many other life systems. And so I wanted to have you on Talk About It Tuesday just to kind of share some of your insight with the folks. So if you don't mind, I like to take people down a road, a path with me. So if you could just briefly kind of talk about who you are and how is it that Michael Parker Jr. has now become the founder of Afro.Strength.
All right. So I'm Michael Parker, of course. I'm 26 years old from San Diego, California. And my story goes along like this. I was always that chubby kid. I had asthma. They used to call me seconds back in the day because if anybody brought some food over or bought some food, I was always going back for seconds, thirds, fourths, and all of that. And at barbecues, I used to always have my Tupperware ready just in case I want to take something home for myself.
You were
So
that
I
guy,
was,
Mike, showing up with the Tupperware.
yeah, I'm sorry. The crazy thing is, I'm sorry, I'm that guy, but I used to always be that guy to bring paper plates or some chips or something like that. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I
Hey,
was trash back in those days.
that
I've
was
changed. I've
then,
changed.
this is now.
Exactly. So I used to be that kid, uh, at 10 years old, I suffered an asthma attack because of my weight. I actually had sports induced asthma, which there's two different kinds. There's sports induced asthma and there's the another asthma. One of them is pretty hard to reverse. Sports induced asthma is easier to reverse, but because I was on the chunkier side, I was a little unathletic and pudgy. Um, I eventually just got an asthma attack one day,
And
and it
you were
scared the hell out of me.
hospitalized behind that, right?
I was
Yeah.
hospitalized. And honestly, that scared me straight, man. That scared me straight. But the thing is that I wanted to make a change back in those days, but thinking back now, I'm like, what 10-year-old actually knows how to make that change? So
True.
basically, I mentally I want to make that change, but based around my surroundings and how I couldn't make my own food, I couldn't necessarily go out there and do my own exercise. I was basically only able to eat what my mom made or what my
Sure,
dad made or
sure.
what kind of food that they had in the house. So even though I internally wanted to make that change, I couldn't
It
do
was
anything
hard
about
to
it.
do.
So
And you make a good point, Michael, too, that I think the audience should be aware of, because you said what 10-year-old can go about making those changes because they are pretty much at the behest of their parents. Not that, because I'm a parent myself, my daughter's 27. So like I
mhm,
said, yeah, I'm old enough to be your mama. But it's not that we don't mean well. We love our children and we want the best for our children. It is just that, like I shared with you, Michael, some of us just didn't know back then what to do. And we are now trying to learn more and just do better, because
mhm,
that is so critical. And with that life, really, that was almost a life or death situation back then when you were 10. And that, like you said, it scared you straight. But then it seemed like later on, when you begin to mature and get into high school and college and things of that nature, you notice that you were kind of struggling with some things that later, I believe, probably revealed themselves to kind of tie back into your eating habits and your lack of movement and things of that nature. What were some of those areas that you were aware of throughout your development that you then begin to want to research and learn more about so you could change them?
absolutely. So I was one of those guys that used to eat the hell out of proteins. I used to eat the hell out of chicken, beef, pork, turkey. I used to eat all that stuff, not knowing what the heck would happen to me in the future. So I used to always eat myself into, of course, what black folks call the itis. I used to eat myself until I hate the itis. And I used to fall asleep not knowing what the heck was going on. I always thought that was just natural. That's what everybody does. Everybody ate till they were full. But it started having an impact on my brain and my whole body basically. So of course I had asthma because of that, because it started clogging up my arteries. I couldn't get enough blood flow through my body and to my lungs and to my heart. So I started also having not necessarily heart problems, but I used to feel it in my chest a little bit. I'm not saying I had a heart attack or anything like that, but I used to feel it in my chest a little bit. My mental health was terrible. I mean, if I was an introvert growing up, and being an introvert, it was kind of hard to articulate what I want to say, and that sent me into a depression that it was very difficult to get out of for a long time. It's not like I was going to do anything to myself. I never got to that point,
Sure, thank
but
goodness.
I absolutely. And I was like, you know what? This could not be life. Life is. I've seen a lot of my people, or just people in general, just out there enjoying their lives. They ain't got to go through any of the stuff I was going through. Look like they was having a time of their lives. I'm over here just struggling just to make it day by day. I'm like, you know what, man? I need to make a change very soon before I end up either dead at 35 because I'm diabetic or
Sure.
had a heart attack or something like that,
And
or I
we've
just
seen
become
that
another.
happen. We've seen that, right?
Absolutely.
We've seen that. Yeah, we do see that happen. And I find that interesting. You talk about that lack of like mental clarity, that depression, that even though you were an introvert, you knew something about this doesn't feel right. And I think
Mhm.
innately, we all know when something just doesn't feel right, and that there has to
Absolutely.
be more. I did last talk about it Tuesday. I was talking about the rainbow connection and the fact that we all know that there is something on the other side, right? It's just, how do I get over there? How do I get to that other side? How do I save myself from myself? And like I said, with our younger, we know that here in America, we have some of the most obese children and adults on this globe. And there are
Hmm.
so many diseases and disorders that are coming about that really can be not only reversed but obliterated by making different choices. So when you talked about you knew that there was something else out there, what did you do? What type of research did you start doing? Where was the turnaround period for you? And then how did you garner the information to become this entity that you are?
Okay, so around that time where I was like, you know what, I have to make this change, I started doing my own research. So I was looking up on Google, how do I help with this depression and stuff like that. And I eventually uh, found a link to something called Binaural Beats, which a lot of folks don't necessarily know about. But I looked it up, I was like, you know what, let me try it out, man. Anything's better than this, what I'm currently doing. So I tried that out one day. I felt so great the next day. Basically, what binaural beats is basically an accelerated version of meditation. So basically, what meditation, of course, you get into your position, you let your mind wander, you just sit there and focus on your breathing and stuff like that. Well, basically, what binaural beats basically does, all it is just it just replicates brain waves in your mind, and there's different brain waves that are specified to different things. So, for example, alpha waves are more towards learning and relaxation, and gamma waves are more for like high levels of concentration. And I believe it's theta waves that are more towards like sleep and relaxation. So I decided to do something called gamma waves. So gamma waves is, of course, to help with your heightened ability of concentration and focus, but also helps you fall asleep a little bit. So I tried that one night. Man, I felt so great the next morning. I felt like I'm able to articulate my thoughts. I felt like my depression was like completely like gone or anything, but I was in a good mood. I had one. Everybody has those good and bad days. The day after that, I had a good day. Like mentally, I was able to articulate. I was actually having a good day. I was happy. I wasn't thinking about my past. I was thinking about, what's going on for the day. I was in a good mood. But for some reason, I just never just continued doing that because I thought, nah, after doing it one time, I'm good. But then the next day, had a bad day.
Right back.
I was
Yeah,
like, you know
that's what
what?
we do. We have one
Hmm.
success and then we stop.
Exactly. I was like, you know what? This is going somewhere. So I started consistently doing it because you can either do it like you can do it for 15 minutes a day, or there's ones where you can actually listen to it in your ear for overnight. You can listen to it overnight if you choose to. So I chose to do a little bit of both. I did 15 minutes in the morning, and I also did about 2 hours while I was drifting off to sleep. And that's when I saw the best results. I was like, you know what? This is actually going somewhere. I'm able to articulate. I'm able to understand a lot on a much higher. I was able to comprehend a lot of information that I at one time in my past I was never able to. I was starting to build my confidence up for the first time in my life because, of course, being an
Wow.
introvert, going through depression and stuff like that, I had
Yes.
very low self-esteem, and the fact that I'm able to actually start talking to people and actually be able to articulate my thoughts, I was actually seeing some sort of progress for the first time in my life. I was like, you
Right.
know what? Let me stick to doing this, and then that's what encouraged me to do even more research and other ways to help not only build up my brain, not only for like my mental ability and my mental health, but also how to build my physical body. Because I was still struggling with my weight at the time. I was still a little pudgy and a little chubby, you know what I'm saying? So my dad ultimately encouraged me to take a personal training class. And that's one of the biggest turning points in my life because the stuff I learned in that book was basically life changing. And the fact that I didn't just internalize the information, I applied that to my life because I knew I needed it. And
Wow.
a lot of that information, along with the research from the books and the textbook and the course, along with the research, I applied that to myself. And I saw big results. I lost 60 pounds.
Wow.
I was able to read books and actually comprehend the information rather than just reading it and not knowing what the hell
Sure.
I just learned.
Yes.
I was, man, I was doing so well, man. I was like, you know what? I know a lot of my people, especially black people, are struggling with their
Yes.
weight, struggling with their mental health. I
Sure.
see what poor mental health can lead to. It can lead to uh, beating up your kids and your family because you don't know how to articulate the anger,
Right.
or it leads you to a life of crime because you don't know better,
Sure.
and you feel that only way to feel any sort of love is through a life of crime or people that are like influence you negatively.
Sure.
And
Sure.
the fact that you're
Understandable.
not able to understand the fact that that's going to lead you down to a path of like being in jail and even worsening your mental health because you're in jail, because that jail is no joke, and it's going
Oh
to
yeah.
worsen your brain
Yeah.
health. And then later on in life, it's just going to be a hard, it's going to be a
Recovery.
hard,
Hard road to
yeah,
recovery. It's hard to come back
exactly,
from. And you know, I thought
exactly.
that's interesting. And I'll make sure that I put a link in here for the viewers. So that's Binaural Beats. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was so interesting because you basically discovered that once you kind of got some clarity mentally, when you were able to quiet those thoughts, then you were able to, like you said, the class that your dad recommended, focus on the information, absorb the information, apply the information, and then see those tangible results. And many of my watchers know, and I shared with you, I was an educator for over 2 decades. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, before we could even educate children, we had to make sure we provided them with nourishment. Because when you think about Maslow's hierarchy, if your basic needs are not met, you can't then ascend to those critical thinking skill areas. It's not possible. So that means if there is hunger, or if there is malnourishment, or if you're not receiving the right type of fuel for your body, which is the same fuel you need for your brain, then you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to be able to have the life outcomes that everyone expects you to have. They're like, well, you went to school. Why do you not know this stuff? Why can you not sit down? Why can you not focus? Because when we think about children and what they eat, and then they become adults who eat the same thing, it is a problem. And so the fact that you had that evolution is so encouraging to me. And again, I live in this melanated skin, and I tell people I'm the realest realtor. I help everyone, but I make sure that I'm always focusing on Black people because that is the experience that I have. And so I want to help as many people that I know are impacted and need this information. So that self-work that you did, and the focusing on both that mental health and boosting your strength and boosting your physical well-being, they do all go hand in hand. And it's okay for Black people to say in our community, yo, I am depressed, or I'm not feeling clarity here in my mind. It is okay, because many times if there are little changes that you can make, then it will make a huge difference. You were pretty much revolutionary, Michael, in making that change for yourself, which I feel like probably, I know you said that you enjoyed the readings of Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X. And I think that type of revolutionary thinking is what we need when it comes to this health crisis. Because I feel it is a
Absolutely.
health crisis in the Black community.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
What are some of the things that you do or that you think about when you hear that? I know that there's some services we want to talk about, but and you wrote a book, Black and Strong. So what are some of
Mm-hmm.
the things that you think about when you hear about this health crisis? Tell us a little bit about your book.
Man, along with all the research that I looked up, I saw a lot of statistics regarding Black health and how it's affecting our community. And I found out a lot of folks don't really know this, but the media seems to portray the fact that gang violence and maybe police brutality are one of the main contributors of death in the Black community. But actually, at CDC, the Center of Disease Control, actually did a study saying that heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, um, heart conditions, stuff to that nature, and strokes were actually the main contributors of death in the Black community.
I believe it.
And,
I believe it.
and ever since I knew about that, I'm like, man, my people need this information more than ever right now. The fact that it's changed my life, it could potentially change someone else's life from potentially going into that wrong direction because they don't know no better. So especially
I love it.
nowadays with this Black Lives Matter movement, everybody wants to start reading. But if you aren't able to understand the information in the books, what the hell is the point?
What's
So
the
that's why I
point?
wrote this.
Say that, brother. What the hell is the point? Say it for the people in the back, because if you cannot comprehend it, Michael, you are speaking my language, brother. You are speaking my language. It is so critical that we can consume this information and make that. And I believe in those statistics, you're exactly right. I'm not surprised by that, Michael. I'm not surprised by those statistics from the CDC. What do you talk about in your book, Black and Strong? What prompted you to write that book?
Basically, basically what I said earlier. I knew my people needed this information as soon as possible. Not 10 years down the road, because a lot of shit can happen 10 years down the road that could have been changed 10 years before. And I could have
Facts.
saved potentially thousands of lives with this information.
Facts.
So what
Absolutely.
I decided to do, I like YouTube. I see how a lot of YouTubers articulate their information. And since I'm kind of introvert, I'm like, you know what? I'm not that good in front of the camera. What else can I do? Let me write a book and let me put all this information in word form. So I decided to start writing the book, brought all my notes together, compounded all the information, and wrote a 150-page book about it.
I
Thing
love
is
it.
with things with a lot of books in our community, or just books in general, a lot of health books are just, of course, they come with facts, but they got a lot of unnecessary fluff
Yes,
along
they
with
do.
it. They
Yes, they
talk about,
do.
let's just say, for example, eating too much meat causes cancer. But then they go 10 pages long about all the different studies and stuff like that.
Yes.
I'm like, you know what? All this
Give it to them
information,
raw,
a lot of,
Michael. Just give it to them raw.
absolutely, I just get straight to the point. That's why it's only
Yes,
100. Because honestly, with all this information, I could have did a whole 400-page book.
I'm
But
sure.
I know a lot of my people, especially if they're just now starting out in health,
Yes,
they need to get straight to the point. Because if
that's
they're
right.
compounded with all this unnecessary information, there's a lot of information overload.
Yes.
They won't be able to comprehend the
They
information.
don't do, listen, when we give people too much information and too many choices, they will not make a choice. There is psychological research that supports that. I want it straight,
Exactly.
no chaser. I want to know what are
Mm-hmm.
the facts and what can I do right now. And I like that even on your Instagram page. And listen, folks, I'm going to drop the link in here to Michael's Instagram page. Make sure that you follow him. You all know that when the Realist Realtor asks you, it's because I'm asking you to follow someone that's doing quality work in the world. But even on your Instagram page, Afro.Strength, and like I said, I will link this here for everyone. You give us little itty bitty things we can do. I loved your one post where it says spell your name. So as you can see, my first name has 10
Mm-hmm.
letters in it. I'm Carmelita. I was like,
Woo,
God
one hell of a
dang,
workout.
Michael, let me tell you something. I was so sweaty. I was like, yo, I ain't messing with Michael like this because it was crazy, dude. But let me tell you, I slept so well. I slept so well.
Mm.
And one of the things about me, I bring people like yourself on my platform. I had my other brother on here, Carl Grant. He is a herbalist and a nutritionist as well. Actually in California, moringamagic.net. He deals with moringa powders and things. He lives a plant-based life as well, as yourself. And so, but one of the things that I like about both Carl and you, and the things that I hear from you, you're not judgmental of those of us who are new to this, right? Who are just trying to learn this, because we don't know everything. And I like that you're not judgmental. And I do like that you give people little things that they can do to build up to where they could be so much more healthier and happier and have so much clarity. Did you
Mhm.
find for yourself that you just started off with small things, and kind of built your way up? Because are you totally a plant-based eater? Am I saying that right? Is it plant-based eater or is it vegan? I don't know which.
Well, basically, plant-based diet falls under. There's two different diets associated with plant-based. There's vegan and there's vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is basically just eat vegetables, fruits, healthy grains, whole wheat, stuff to that nature. Basically, what vegan is basically the same thing as vegetarian, but you eat soy products as your source of protein. So you can eat like there's like tempeh, there's seitan, there's tofu, and there's a lot of other products. So it's basically just plant-based dieting. So yeah.
Got you. Okay. So that, thank you. I didn't even know that distinction. So thank you for that. See, you see what I'm saying? It's like we just don't know. Because I've been doing more plant-based eating than based on your definition, staying away from dairy, things of that nature. But again, I'm not perfect, Michael. So I love that I
Dude,
can
I'm not
do
even perfect.
well, I like that I can take little things and build up to where I need to be. And that's why I
Mhm.
said that's what I admired about what I saw, the work that I saw you doing. I mean, even your post, you had a post on there from a doctor that he was Dr. Mills. I think he's a plant-based eater. And he was talking about, listen, think about it. Elephants are the strongest animals in the jungle, but they don't eat elephant flesh to gain this strength. Elephants eat
Mhm.
leaves and plants and nuts and so I love that you give us just enough for it to make sense. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's what elephants eat, right? And they're the strongest animal out there. So I find that so helpful. And like I said, I'll definitely put a link in there. And folks, make sure that you're going over and following Michael on IG. That is Afro.Strength. And that will be here in the description of this video. And make sure you're grabbing his book and connecting with him. What type of services do you provide for folks, Michael?
Okay, so what I provide nutrition programming, and this is nutrition and fitness programming. And this fitness program is not necessarily one of those cookie cutter programs that you can find out anywhere on the internet with very generic information like eat your vegetables, blah, 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 eat your fruits. It's basically all this program is based around what you want, what your fitness goals is, what kind of time do you have, and stuff to that nature. So I have a whole survey that you fill out basically around like asking information like what days of the week do you want to work out? How long do you want to work out? Do you want the gym or home workouts? Because I can do both. And for like those are just examples of nutrition, not nutrition, of fitness.
Fitness,
For
okay.
nutrition, I go along the lines of do you want to completely give up meat or do you want to gradually get rid of meat? I
Sure,
can make a
sure.
program around that. Do you want to start eating more vegetables or do you want to start taking supplementations to compensate for the
Mm-hmm. Sure.
lack of vegetables that you eat? Do you want to completely give up soda right now
Right.
or do you want to
Ooh,
gradually do it? Yeah.
wait a minute. Get out of my refrigerator, Michael. But yeah, I know. I'm getting there. Listen, I'm down to one Mountain Dew a day. And I know Mountain Dew is the
Okay.
worst, but I'm down
Hold
to
on, one
one.
can or 1 liter?
One can. Oh,
Oh, okay. I was about
look,
to say,
you
okay.
you
Just
caught
making
me,
sure.
Michael. Look, you slick with it, Michael. You slick with it because I was
You
gonna be
got to
like
test
one
my
liter,
system.
but no, it is one can. So, but it
Got
matters.
you.
You're right, and let me tell you, I can tell that you are the true certified nutritionist that you are because you were like, hold fast, is it a can or is it a liter? Because it makes a
Mhm.
difference, and that, sir, is what a certified nutritionist would say. Well, not only are you a certified nutritionist, you're a certified physical trainer, and you were a certified pharmacy tech. So let me tell you guys something. Michael knows the impact of all of these pills that doctors will prescribe to us because pills do not solve the problem. Pills only mask the problem. They manage the problem. You don't want management. You want obliteration. You want these things to be abated and removed from yourself. And many of the disorders that you described, Michael, based on that CDC survey, are diseases that are reversible if we reverse how we eat and what we put into our bodies, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just listening. I was just listening to you because I feel like I always want to get that out there because I don't ever want people thinking that it's medicine that will save us. We were healing ourselves through herbs and plants and fruits and nuts and berries and things before there were medicinal things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess I don't know. Yeah, I think our just people just tend to just start eating, 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 and then just relying on this one secret pill to magically turn our whole life around, but still eating horribly at the same time. When in reality, that's not changing shit. Excuse my language. That's not changing anything.
Exactly.
What you truly want is something because, like you said, these doctors, all they want to do is just they just want to make up a reoccurring patient just to
Yes.
make their profits and
Sure.
keep you. They just all these pills basically do is just manage symptoms.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
don't they
You're in
don't
that
completely
cycle.
reverse the disease at
That's
all.
right. That's right. But big pharma stays rich, so that's always a good thing.
Hmm.
And let me tell you something that you just said. I follow this other brother on YouTube, so those of us, the influencers, we all kind of follow each other. But there's a guy that I really love, Dave Never Sleeps. He has a YouTube show called Social Proof, and he had a young doctor on, young guy. He's your age, so you guys are the same age. His name is Dr. Bobby Price, and he too, like you, has a background in chemistry. You know, he was he's a doctor of pharmacology or whatever. But it's interesting what you just said, because he basically said the same thing that you said. You know, you just said that people think, oh, let me pop this pill, but I'm still gonna go eat this rack of ribs, right? And he
Hmm.
said that type of mentality is the same thing. And I think the guy, even on your Instagram page, said it. He was like, that's like saying, I'm gonna smoke cigarettes for the oxygen, or or that, right? He said it makes no sense. And that's the same thing Dr. Bobby Price said. He was like, listen, it doesn't make sense to think that you can keep doing the same things and have different outcomes. What I liked about what he said, what you have always said as well, and you did so much of this. Once you educate yourself, then you're held accountable for that knowledge. And so
Hmm.
beyond that point, it's a choice. You can choose self love, because I think what you're describing is self love, in my opinion. Me eating better is me loving Carmelita better. Or I can make a choice to just be like, bump it. I'm going to just stay the course. And and then suffer the consequences that come. I mean, I think that's life, right? Everything just comes down to one choice. There's a great book called The Choice. You just got to make a choice. That's it. Like, Michael can't make you do it. I can't make you do it. All we can do is show up on this platform and give you the information. I do encourage you to go over and follow this brother. I do encourage you to go over and grab his book. I do encourage you to contract his services, because, Michael, I'm assuming you can do things both virtually as well as in your area. Is that correct?
Absolutely. With this book, is actually an ebook. So you don't have to wait for shipping, because I know with this whole postal service crap that's going
Sure,
on right now,
sure.
you don't have to wait 2 weeks in order to get your book. As soon as you purchase, there's going to
It's
be a
there.
download link right after that. So you can
I
start
love
learning
it.
as soon as the same day as you buy it.
I
And
love
with the
that.
services I provide, I do it within where I'm at, and I can also do it virtually,
Hmm.
whichever is best for you. Whichever
I
is best
love
for you.
it.
I can do it over video conferences. I can do telephone calls. If you're
Yes.
not big into telephone calls, I can text you information.
So
As long
there's
as
so basically what you're
I,
saying is there's no excuse,
exactly, exactly.
no
I can
variance.
adapt. I can adapt. I'm not one of those person turns like this way and this way only. Yo,
Right.
I understand everybody's different. I understand
Yes.
everybody's. Some are maybe more tech savvy. Some might not. Some might
Sure.
want to do
Sure.
home gyms or
Right.
home workouts. Some might want to go to the gym.
Right.
I'm not that guy. So
Let
yeah,
me tell you, this I tell you, the guy is, though, when somebody can post something on their Instagram that gives me a good workout, trust me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I might mess with this dude, because he knows what he's doing. So I'm definitely so happy that I had the opportunity to interview you, that we had time, that we had this time together. This isn't going to be the end of our time together, because I know that
correct.
you are going to move on and do big things and great things. And for me to see this in a young man, I mean, you are younger than my own child. It makes my heart so happy. And I know your parents are just so proud of you, your family. I'm proud of you. And I'm grateful to you, brother, for what you're doing for the Black community. So you're definitely, your heart is in the right place, and you're going to do very well. I know that you've got big things that you want to do in the future for yourself, even, starting your nonprofit and changing policy. I mean, this is a movement. You have started a movement. So he has a website, folks. It is the Melanin Muscle Movement. So if you don't connect with him, which you should, on Instagram at Afro.Strength, which is his brand, make sure that you head over to his website, the melaninmusclemovement.com. But let me tell you, keep your eye on this brother, because he's a rising star, and he's going to do good things, not only in the world of health, but in the world of policy. And that's huge, Michael. That's a huge impact. So I'm so happy. Michael, brother, thank you for being here with us today. Is there anything you want to leave the people with before we go?
Um, just keep your head up, man. I mean, I know these are some tough ass times with the whole.
Yes.
I know these are some tough ass times with this whole coronavirus and stuff like that. With the crazy ass Peach that just got out of office, getting Biden in office. I know it's a very struggling time right now. All I can say right now is keep your head up. There's ways around this. Just don't get into just don't dig yourself into a hole that you can't get out of. Because I know
Sure.
I know once depression sits in or once anxiety sets in and you don't know how to reverse it, it's hard to
It's
get out of.
hard.
So just
Yeah.
so continue, keep your head up, stay positive. I know it's hard to, but it's all about self affirmations at the end of the day. Just continue to motivate yourself. Just either surround yourself with positive people, or if you're not necessarily don't have a whole lot of friends or whatever, there's YouTube out there. There's a lot of people that's within your
Sure.
field that can potentially motivate you in whatever field you
Absolutely.
want to, or just to keep you motivated or whatever you
Keep
want
you
to do. So just
motivated. I love
keep your
that
head up, man.
message. I love that message, Michael, because that message is speaking to stay positive, feed your mind, move your body. So there are so many things that we can do that you can help us do while we are weathering this storm. And so I encourage all of you to connect with this powerful young man, Michael Parker Jr. Thank you for being here on Talk About It Tuesdays. And we are going to have you back. So hopefully you will come back and visit with us again.
Absolutely, I enjoyed it very much with this conversation with you. So I'm absolutely probably going to do part 2, part 3, part 4,
Whoop,
however much.
whoop.
Because trust me, I have a lot more. I have a lot more coming. Trust me, I
Yes,
have probably
yes.
potentially 2 books,
I
2
love
more
it.
books coming out, and I want to share the information with you. So
I love that,
absolutely.
brother. And we want to get it out there. We want to get it out there. Listen, folks, thank you for rocking with us on this Talk About It Tuesday. I know this one has been a lot of information. If you have questions, feel free to leave them here in this video. I will make sure that Michael will get the information and he can connect with you. But most importantly, I want you to give this young brother his accolades. So make sure you're leaving the thumbs up on this video. Make sure you're leaving comments. Make sure that you like and subscribe to this channel. Ring that notification bell so that you'll always know when we're live or uploading content. And I always say that I leave you in the same manner, folks, in which I found you, and that is in peace. Take care, everybody.